14 hours.
Yes, exactly.
Audience. Yeah.
Measuring lag, 6-7 seconds.
That's not bad.
No. We were trying to start using this PC last week, and we did the Sunday LGBTQ show through this, and it's not. There was a 25-second lag, and it wasn't putting it out so that it was all out of focus.
Oh, weird.
So I'm back on my thing, and we're trying to get a slightly newer used PC. From one of our guys who has access to a lot of stuff. He works for Intel and goes through stuff like nobody's business.
Oh, I'm sure.
But and we'll be able to use this for something else, but apparently it wasn't good enough for Zoom.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It's not the bandwidth locally.
It was video processing. Yeah. And there's two things happening. We're sending to Zoom, but we're also sending to Restream, and that's where it was failing. So it probably looked okay on Zoom.
Yeah.
But you go back to the YouTube and
sketchy.
That's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you about ready, boss?
Yeah. Thanks for your time. I will. That's cool, right?
Yeah.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to CSC Portland. I'm Patrick. I'm co-owner and general manager here, so I'm responsible for the bathrooms. Let me know if anything is amiss. It's a glamorous profession we're in. But we offer fantastic stand-up classes taught by Carl Wolfson. Applause now. Carl's a 40-year industry veteran and a host of many radio shows, not a DJ. A host. Everybody say host. Host. Good. I'll remember to do that now in the future. I said DJ. So a couple of things. First of all, anytime, preferably kind of between student comics, you can race in back and Marianne will help you with your beer, wine, cider, soda pop, sugar needs. Waters, LaCroix, Gatorade, Frappuccinos. Anyway, that's available. I will be streaming, so one thing to know, by being in this room, you are agreeing that your likeness may be put out on the internet forever without compensation by us. Agreed? Yay! Cool. If you don't agree, self-guided tours of Northwest Portland are available. So that's kind of the way it is. Now also, that's kind of me being a jerk, but also me being a jerk, this is a non-heckling space. So we're here to support these students. They are students, right? So we're going to be nice, right? Yeah! Supportive, right? Yeah! And we're going to show them tons of love. Yeah! For doing this very, very, very scary. Isn't this all this talking going over here while I'm talking? This very, very scary thing, right? So let's be supportive. And if you can't believe they said it, by the way, later on it might be available on YouTube. If you know one of the comics, contact them for the link. All right, or check it out on youtube.com/@CSZ Portland. That's a Z, a Z if you're British. All right, first of all, let's give it up for our host and teacher and mentor, Carl Wolfson.
You guys for Patrick Stewart, give me a little applause. Yeah. Got a camera there. Oh, good. You're going to take some good shots tonight, huh?
How can you
miss with the subject you got.
We can't. Absolutely cannot. Are you a professional?
I act like it.
You act like it. Okay, that's what I do with comedy. Same thing. Thanks for showing up tonight. I know the Navy's in town. Are the ships in?
They are.
I see you're enthused. You chose this over the Navy. Congratulations. I read today, actually, this was a very good thing. I read in the New York Times that the Italians have offered Ukraine their Navy. So that should have turned to war. The new Italian Navy that sails in glass bottom boats, so they can see the old Italian Navy.
Wow.
The reason I did that joke is I wrote it in 1981, and it still doesn't kill. I don't know. Yeah, I've been doing comedy a long time. When I started in 1980, the Koch brothers were Jim and John Belushi, actually. If you didn't get that, you're really fucking young. How old are you? Are you at a shop class yet?
Not quite.
Not quite, jeez. How old are you?
32.
Oh, 32, I'm sorry, I had bad eyes. You look like you were at Grant High or something like that. 32, what do you do for a living at 32? You work? Have you thought about working? What?
Yes, I raise money.
You raise money?
I do.
Yeah. Okay. Drinks and snacks on what's your name?
Napoleon?
I'm not fooled by that. Napoleon is one of my former students, a great and he killed. Give Napoleon a round of applause. Oh, you know Napoleon too?
Play back one.
Yeah.
This is my dad.
Oh, that's your dad? Okay, we broke it out into small comedy groups, ladies and gentlemen. There really is no need for the stand-ups now. Yeah. Times were tough after Waterloo, but you bounced back, man. You really have. Yeah, I tell my students I'm very nostalgic about comedy because this is my 43rd year, 8,000 plus shows, and and this is the largest crowd I've ever had, actually. Not keen tonight, but yeah, I am nostalgic now, and because my career is kind of like gliding down. And I was on Alan Thicke show, Thicke the Night every week, and Alan passed away suddenly. It was sad, and I was on Joan Rivers' show every month. Joan passed away suddenly. I kind of wish I were on The Apprentice. That would have been perfect, really. Another indictment. Pretty exciting, huh? Yeah. Jack Smith gave it. The one question he didn't answer, the special prosecutor, is whether Trump will be tried as an adult. That's a question. I actually have to still perform in Trump country. Have any of you grown up or been in Trump country? No? You're looking at me like, no, I can't leave Portland. I can't leave. Yeah. I go to Richland, Washington for all of you then. Different place, you know. I'm in Richland doing my dog and cat material. Woman in the back yells, I said, what kind of dog? She goes, lab. I said, what kind of lab? She goes, meth. And so that's Trump country right there. So where are you from, sir? Portland. Yeah, okay. You look like you dazed yourself. Portland, actually. Yeah. Good. What street then? I don't really know what to ask after that. I have an old Thomas guy. Yeah. How old are you?
47.
Oh shit. Everyone looks young to me. I thought it was going to be a playmate for you, you know? Monkey bars, jungle gym, I was, recess and shit, but he's in his 40s. God damn it. Richland is okay compared to other places I go, like the Deep South. I was in, anybody been to the Deep South? Don't say Ashland. Where? Tennessee, yeah. Even deeper than that. I was in Pamplona, Alabama for the running of the Rednecks. And I was gored by their sharp intellect, I have to tell you. Arkansas is a place now, right next to Tennessee. You'll see shit in Arkansas you don't see anywhere else. Go there just for fun. They should do tram tours. It's great. I saw a 12-year-old girl smoking right in front of her children. It was unbelievable. You know who's happy? When last time I was in Texas, you know who's happy about Trump? George W. Bush, because now he's not the shittiest president. Remember Bush, how he used to talk to us like he was in the 3rd grade? The hurricane is in the water. When the hurricane hits the land, there will be an emergency on the land. People say to me, when will the hurricane hit the land? When will it make landfall? Well, I'm the decider. I decide when I did that in Texas. Some guy after the show goes, you should listen to President Bush like he listens to the country. So I did. I tapped his phone without a court order. That's what I did. All right. Welcome, Portlanders. I love Portland. I've been here 22 years. I love my neighborhood. We know everybody in our neighborhood. And our dry cleaner is one of our favorite people on Broadway, Mrs. Lee. She's from Korea. Very funny, doesn't speak any English, but really funny. She's just really funny. Some years ago, I took in a pair of jeans that had like a red stain right here where I pointed out. She goes, is it the lipstick? That's what it is. You guys ready for a fun show? The first thing I tell my class always is, number one rule, only one rule I have fun on stage. If you have fun, the audience is going to have fun. So you better hold up your end of the bargain tonight. And it has really been a joy to have these students in, and we've got a mix of both of my classes. They're all so different, and they're going to take you on different personal journeys. I'm fond of every one of them, proud of every one of them. And joining the stage now, someone who does political material a little bit like I do. I've known him before, and I've seen a really funny side of him now. Please welcome Charles Gallia, ladies and gentlemen. Charles!
So I started this journey into stand-up comedy when I was very young. I was 5 years old when I learned my first joke, and it was, how do you top a car? Pause. You tap on the brake. That was it. And so I told it to my mom, and she laughed, and then my brother and sister, and they laughed, and then my grandparents, and they all laughed. And then I made the rounds again, and I said it to my mom, and she gave me a courtesy chuckle. And then my grandparents gave me that grandparent smile with a and my brother and sister just had a flat affect, And then the third time I went through, my mom outward scoffed. She just didn't know it was nothing. And my grandparents, when they looked at me, they were stone-faced, and they said, oh man, this is going to cost us a lot in therapy, I can tell. And then I turned to our dog, and the dog just got on my back. And I realized at 6 years old now that two things. One is I needed a drink and a quick decision. I was getting 0 calls from my agent. I had no gigs lined up, and so I knew I had to make a career change. And I'll tell you a little bit about that later. So fast forward a few decades, and a few more, and a few more. And I signed up for this class, and as you heard, we were told the first day that there was one rule, and that was to have fun. That's great, I can do this. And then I hear, and the second rule is, no self-deprecating humor. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, that's pretty bad, because that's half my shit. And then the third rule we learn is no racist, misogynistic, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic kinds of humor. And I'm thinking, I might as well get one. So I go home, I'm thinking about it at night, and I think, oh, you know what? There's one you didn't cover. I could drive my wheelchair through that. It's ageism. And so I'm going to share some of my experience with you about aging. And if you're young, which I understand there's a few people in here that are young, let me tell you, it sneaks up on me. And one of the first signs I got was when I was around 50, and I heard this and saw these like vultures circling. And I heard this, arr, arr, arr. And as they got closer and closer, what I realized they were saying is ARP. And sooner or later, they're gonna get you. I just knew it. And then at home, pull out the mailbox, and there's these well-mentioned or endearing little letters that say, think ahead. If you pass away, you don't want to do this you want to make arrangements ahead of time, and don't put this burden on your family. So what I'm reading is, you're gonna die. And it wasn't very helpful. When I moved into a job, one of the things that occurred to me was that when I did this job application, and the job resulted in this last step, and I was told I needed to do a background check and a hearing test. And the director of the program said, it's not a big deal, you'll be right there. So I started stressing, and it was obvious that I was concerned, and I thought, oh God, this is bad. So I shared. I said, I don't understand. I've had some issues in the past, and and I know I could get it addressed, but I kind of put it off. And she asked, so what's the problem? Is it the background check? Did you do something? I said, no, it's the other. And she said, with the urine test? And I said, no. I thought you were saying hearing test.
That's a slow burn.
So then, at a class reunion,
That's awesome.
not too long ago, I came up with this idea, and it was, we had a film mic in the room, and I said, hey everybody, I got this idea. Why don't we go approach Costco and see if we can get a discount group colonoscopy? And there were no takers. And in fact, I spent the rest of the night in the room by myself, much like my dog. And I mentioned at the beginning that I had a different career path in mind when I was young. At 6 years old, I decided I wanted to be a black female backup vocalist. And you can see this, birds flying high, we know how you feel. And to some of you, it might be readily apparent why it is that I didn't take that career path. That is because I'm a bass. Thank you.
Charles Galloway, by the way, keep it up for Charles. There are 8 of you out there who are around my age or Charles's age. If you want to, we're going to go down to Costco on Monday. Any take? Napoleon. Oh man, this Waterloo thing really fucked you up. Now, what is your name, the young one again?
Aaron.
Aaron? Do you know what a colonoscopy is?
I wouldn't have any
You wouldn't have any idea. Yeah, okay.
My colon works fine.
So you know what a colon is, but not a colonoscopy. So it's the device you have a problem with. There you go. Do you do improv, Aaron?
I do.
Oh, good. Well, thanks. This is our show tonight, though. No, I know. I'm just kidding. I have all the respect for improv people when they're not on. No, I love it. You look very talented, and I hope you have a. When you go for your colonoscopy someday, just go freeze. Okay. Anyone from Washington here? We have Washington. You are so great. You're like the comedy den mother. I love you. Are you from Washington? No. It's a Liars Club. What are you, Trump's defense counsel? No, of course, I've never been to Washington.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah. I saw a car with this was amazing in Portland. I'd never seen this before. I saw a car with Washington plates going the correct way down a one-way street there. Never seen it before. It was amazing. And I kind of put down Richland, I just put down Washingtonians, but I do want to make it back because Washingtonians in 2012 did something that no other state has done. I think it's fantastic. On the same election day, November 2012, Washingtonians approved both gay marriage and legal pot. Isn't that great? So, they were just proving to the rest of us that we have been reading the Bible incorrectly. Leviticus says if a man lies with a man, he should be stoned. I don't want to explain to you what homosexuality is. If you're an improv, you know. All right, we've been for next performer on the show. Charles got us off to a really good start. I love Vince, and I was going over. I didn't even have his name correct through the whole class because, in my defense, he just changed it backstage. He is just naturally funny. He made me laugh from day one. You're going to love him. Please welcome Vince Kiffa, ladies and gentlemen.
So, I used to always start all my stories with, so I was smoking weed or we were getting high. And then one of my friends pointed out, Vince, every story you have starts with that. And then that's when I realized that I smoke weed every day. And I had to take a step back, kind of reassess my life and change some priorities. So now, today I'm celebrating 2.5 months of just starting my stories. Because we all know I was high as hell. So I've read the headlines, the rumors are true. I'm aware I have a mullet. You see, it's kind of a funny story. A little over a year ago when my cat died, and, oh, do you think I meant haha funny? I was watching a lot of YouTube, kind of trying to process the grief, and I saw a German electronicore band that was trending at the time called Electric Callboy. If you know me, you know that you hate that music. Because I was listening to it constantly, but I'm getting ahead of myself and Quentin Tarantino. It's the ending. I was in a dark mood. I needed something to hate. And in the clip, the thumbnail for the video, they have these dumb bowl cuts. And they all have the bowl cuts. And I'm just looking at it just like, oh man, I'm gonna trash this thing right now. I was smoking weed, sorry, old habit. I clicked that video, and in that 3.5 minutes, I went from a full-on hater to pre-ordering an album, ordering a ticket, getting this t-shirt, and by the time I was through my post-feline morning, I had this mullet, because I had enough hair. It started as a joke. I think it's who I am now, and it's a European mullet. Because you see, like an American mullet, it's business in the front, party in the back, and sometimes it's racist. And a European mullet's a party in the back and a party all over the place. When I do a hair flip somewhere, a DJ's dropping the bass. If somebody goes dope 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 by law, I have to go dope dope dope. It's just how the Euros do it. And after listening to Electric Callboy, I started going deeper into the culture. You learn a lot about a culture through its music. And I was listening to Mia, Julia, and Plusmaka, Fins at Socio. We buttered the bread with butter. And like the great thing is, like, I started listening to German music. I'm learning German. I have an Adidas tracksuit. I changed my stage name to Vince Smokes Weed in German. And no one's like, he's culturally appropriating. It's like, man, he's a really cool guy. Free pass when it's the Germans. Now I've learned some other stuff through their cultures. You know the Germans are funny? Like, most people think Germans aren't funny, but it's like a really dry humor. It's like really tongue-in-cheek. Like butt cheeks. Like, they're really horny, you guys. Like I said, their humor is dry, but they're wet and ready to go. And like everyone thinks like Germans just eat like sausage and pretzels. But there's like other stuff too, like salad. Like there's Gurkensalat, which is just cucumbers tossed in seasoned vinegar. There's potato salad, and then the third most popular is ass. Like the only thing standing between them is just them and some ass, just a lederhosen, and they're just ready to go. So when I wasn't like rocking out to some party metal, I was also processing my feelings through pornography. And pornography is a lot like music. If you're into it, you really start to go into some subgenres. Like, I used to listen to alternative rock, now I listen to progressive death grind. As a teenager, I was into Linkin Park, now I listen to Cow Decapitation to relax. And that's like, went from like, solo scenes, missionary, to like, it got deep, like really deep. Like, I don't even want to say what I watch because I don't want to make a big ass of myself, and I'm really anal retentive about what I say in public, gangbang. It's just, I don't want to piss away my reputation, in case somebody in the audience is transcribing everything that I'm saying. Don't tighten up on me. I have an inclusive search history. You're not brave like me. I can tell you that the step thing is really popular right now. Like the stepsister, and like, listen, I will kink shame that. Like, that's just weird. But I remember growing up, the only sisters in porn were nuns, and that's how I liked it. Sacrilegious gets me warm, I did watch one out of curiosity, and I was surprisingly really into it, because that's when I learned my fantasy is my parents might get divorced. Just change things up a little bit, make it interesting. I have a lot of half-baked ideas, and that hurts my feelings when someone says that, because if you knew me, I was fully baked. When I thought of that, then I realize I've gotten bigger, but bathtubs have definitely gotten smaller. The modern day bathtub can really only accommodate babies and certain Europeans. And I got a bad back. When I'm just trying to relax and I'm sitting in the tub and I'm just it's just not hitting. And so then I have to start sliding down so my muscles can get into the therapeutic waters of my tub. And I'm just using my wall as an ottoman. And now my back feels better, but my neck feels weird. My gut kind of looks like a tropical island. Just sticking out of the water. No palm tree. And while I wait for the water to get cold, I start kind of thinking about like I would never send an unsolicited dick pic. That is a no-no. I don't even like sending a solicited dick pic. But I am a people pleaser. But one thing I think is okay 100% of the time is sending a picture of an animal you think best represents your dick. And like, be creative, don't cheat. Like don't send a tiger if you got a tabby in your pants. So I'm trying to get the trend going. I hope it catches on. If anyone ever sends you a picture of a pufferfish, they're a grower, not a shower. It's sad when anybody dies, but it's especially sad if they drown in a river. But if they drown in an atmospheric river, that's pretty cool. Like, that takes talent. You got a jetpack going on? Can you fly? What happened? Yeah, I get a little. I start thinking things get dark once the water starts getting cold, and I just start wondering, like, if bees go extinct, do you think flowers will ever learn how to kiss? Something's got to keep the species going. You're right, it's getting really sad. Hey, is it just me, or do you guys say a eulogy before you pop your zits? Like, I failed biology, I don't know how many times. I passed math, but I still don't know how many times I failed biology. But I do remember that, stay with me, that a zit is full of pus, and pus is dead white blood cells. And white blood cells are protecting your body from the elements. Those are your fallen soldiers. If you don't say a little word for them before you just, like, you're like, do you hate Veterans Day? That's my Veterans Day. Today we do a candlelight vigil for Jimmy, who definitely protected us from cancer, or I maybe ate fries and I touched my face. I don't know. Dankeschön, guten Nacht, ich bin Vince Kipper.
Keep it on for Vince. Unbelievable. You understand that German? Yeah. That thing where he was in the bathtub with the legs up? Colonoscopy. One more time for Vince. Really. Vince is, are you you're from Chicago, right, Vince?
Yeah.
That was like, I'm stoned, I don't quite remember where I was from, but
I'm trying to forget.
Yeah, you grew up in Chicago?
Yeah, 29 years.
Okay, so you were 29?
Yeah, I fled a coop.
Okay, let's force him to do calculus, shall we? Yeah, and how long you been out here?
Since 2017, so about 6 years.
Yeah, that's 7, but
I brought the fire seasons and the blizzards. I don't know what happened. I thought I
thank
was
you.
running away from them.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thanks for taking my class. Really good stuff. I love Chicago. Anyone from the Midwest? Chicago is one of the. Are you great in Cali? Yeah. Okay. Chicago is one of the greatest towns, except in the winter. And I've had to fly there to do shows. The worst was 1990 Valentine's Day. I was flying in to play the club in Chicago, funny firm, and they had a blizzard. And the plane, we circled O'Hare for like an hour. And the pilot came on. This is exactly what he said. He said, O'Hare has been shut. We've been diverted. We should have enough fuel to get to Minneapolis. Nuns are going, fuck. When you sit next to a nun who says fuck, it changes your whole attitude, really. Just straight up and fly right at that point. Yeah. Not my worst flight number, though. What was my worst flight number ever? In 43 years of comedy, what was it? Worst flight number, 420. Oh, thank you. Yeah, 420 Airlines. I like it. You're either stoned or celebrating Hitler's birthday. That's a good airline. Lufthansa. All right, good. Anybody? My flight number was 5050. That's a great flight number. Dear pilot, welcome aboard flight 5050. We've got an even shot at getting off the runway today. Are you guys ready for more comedy? We have so many great comics. Aiden Diskin's coming up. Denny's coming. You all know Denny. Everybody's incredible on this show. And I was very lucky to have him in class. And please welcome our first woman to join the stage now. It's about time, right? Hysterically funny. One of my favorites. Please welcome Wendy Heiss, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening. I don't know if that's just because I'm a woman or what, but I'll take it. So I wasn't going to say this, but Vince was talking about German and, dry humor and horny. So Heiss is my last name. It means hot. So I'm not sure which direction that's from, if it's like the dry humor or the horny side, but I'm just going to throw that out there. I was also going to start this evening, you know what, I was getting ready tonight and I had a makeup disaster. So I don't know, some of you can relate. I had my favorite blush was sitting beside the sink. I went to pick it up and the lid popped off and it just spilled all over the place. And I screamed, because I'm very calm and not nervous at all. I was like, oh no, so yeah, I had to scoop it back in, and I know some of you are not really understanding what I'm talking about. Gentlemen, just imagine it was a beer or an old fashioned. Spilled. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm gonna say that's what men drink in Portland, beers or old fashions. I'm not, it's one of the two. So I just celebrated an anniversary also. 4 years since I was divorced. And I'm pretty proud also. And so yeah, I was married for 26 years. I was working on that divorce for about 27. So it took me a while, but I got there. So I went ahead and I celebrated, and I got myself a present. I got myself my first apartment. So first time I've ever lived on my own. I know, some of you are like, that's just sad. It really is. I also, in that whole life, I have 6 kids as well. So I'm now living in my own studio apartment, and it is a little surreal. I had never really even been in an apartment building before. So the closest I'd ever really come was a hotel. And I have a studio. So I also have ADD and a little bit of memory loss because I'm getting older. I know we keep talking about being older, and there are gradual stages of older, but I'm getting older enough that I have short-term memory loss. So I get home in the evening, I go up to my apartment, I open the door, I'm like, wow, it's really nice in here. This isn't bad at all. Oh my gosh, they have that same, I have that chair. That is so weird. That pink card chair, who would imagine that, oh, that's right, it's my place. I also am a little OCD, lots of alphabet, a little OCD, and so in the morning I tend to just kind of clean. I'm also just only half awake in the morning. So I get home in the afternoon, and remember I said I had 6 kids? I get home in the afternoon and everything is exactly where I left it. It's really weird. I'm not exactly sure what's happening there, but I'm used to you leave things somewhere, you find them somewhere else. Now it's always in the same place. So I walk in and I'm like, wow, the maids in this place are awesome. And tip them. Anyway, so yeah, so I was married for a long time, and when I got divorced, I was pretty excited about getting out there and meeting new people, right? I pretty much, I got married at 18, and you can do some math, that's okay. Got married at 18, and that was pretty much my definition of what a man was my ex-husband. And So I was super, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go date people, I'm gonna meet a lot of new people, all sorts of different guys, it'll be super exciting, and so I got out there and I found that honestly I was just mistaken. Pretty much, they're all just the same, sorry, I just, so, for example, my ex, we used to have this thing about my ex, his name was Frank, and when we were in college, he would say something, and when he left, my friends would all say, oh yes, in Frank's world. Because sometimes what he thought happened really had very little to do with what really happened in the real world that we all live in. And I found that this wasn't just him. I found this is actually kind of a common occurrence. Sorry, gentlemen. You probably don't know, so it's okay. It's fine. But I found, that sometimes just in their own kind of world, it's kind of little land of make-believe, things happen, and they're like, wow, awesome. And that's it. That's like as far as they get. Right? So I had a couple serious relationships right after my divorce. The first one, was time to break it off. And he said to me, but I'm a really good guy. Okay, so first of all, he wasn't. I'm just going to tell you that now. And no land of make-believe was he a really good guy. But the other thing is, if you really think about that statement, so you're a really good guy, does that mean I have to be in a relationship with you? Because if so, unless you're the only really good guy, I'm going to be in a lot of relationships, and I don't think you're going to like that. I'm just saying. The next guy, it was time to break that relationship off as well. And I've got a trend, that's patterns. And he said to me, you're not going to be able to live without me. Now, I will admit that I think I may be slightly at fault in this particular instance. So, I was married a long time, and there's certain things I don't like to do, right? It's like, oh, baby, can you please come open this jar of pickles for me, right? They come open the jar of pickles. It's not like I can't open a jar of pickles, gentlemen. I can. I just don't want to, okay? Right? Oh no, there's a spider. Come kill the spider. I can kill spiders. I really can. I'm fine. I have 5 boys. Really, I can kill a spider. I zip up my dress. That's just me trying to be sexy, right? Oh baby, zip up my dress for me, right? So I really think that what he was thinking, in his imaginary space, I'm thinking it's probably a week or two out. He's sitting at home and he's thinking, yep, right now, this is going to be my man voice tonight. Right now, Wendy's sitting in a corner with her dress only half zipped up, trying to open a jar of pickles. And there's a spider between her and the door. That phone's gonna ring any minute now. He was mistaken. No. So I got past that. I decided it was just time to date a lot of people, right? The serious relationship thing was getting old. And so I got a dating app. Now, it didn't happen tonight, but a lot of times guys like to come up here and talk about dating apps. If you come to a different night, I'm sure you'll hear it. And they always just want to complain about the dating apps, right? It's like, oh, this is my other man voice thing. I mix it up a little. Oh, I send this girl a like, and she never likes me back. None of the women ever talk to me. I went on a girl. No, that's what they wish they said. No, that's in their imaginary world. That didn't actually happen. I went on a date and she ghosted me, right? And I get that. You're putting yourself out there, and I just want to explain for a minute what it's like on a woman's side of one of these dating apps. Okay, so we get hundreds of likes. Okay, I'm not joking. Hundreds of likes. Okay, and that's not me bragging. I went out with a guy once, and he's like, "Oh yeah, my wife, she's got over 1,000." So, so this is not me just saying, but really, we get a lot of likes. So it's gonna take a little more effort than that. Like if the only effort you can put out is to push a button, I'm feeling like this relationship may be doomed right now. Right? So it would give me something. And so I started thinking, okay, if they send an introduction, I'll look at it and we'll do a little banter back and forth, see how it goes. I was a good Catholic before I got divorced, and I'm now recovering. And I lived in the Midwest for a long time, so I'm just generally a nice person. So I feel like first of all I feel guilty not going out with somebody, but I know it's going to be harder if I go out with them to break it off than if I don't. So I'm just trying to be picky. And so I finally, I narrow it down, and I'm thinking, okay, I found somebody, I'm going to go out on a date with them, and we're going to see how this goes. So I went on a date recently, and I think I mentioned that I have ADD earlier, or short-term memory loss or something, I don't know, anyway. But so I have little ways of getting around it. I've lived long enough, and I had enough chaos around me that I've found some ways to then I just know myself. So one of the things is, when I'm going on a date, I always schedule it on a weeknight, like at 5:30. Partly because who wants to waste a weekend on one of those dates? But also because then I can text them and say, hey, sorry, got stuck at work, going to be coming in my work clothes. Okay, yeah, I know, it's and I do, I just stay at work, I just come in my work clothes. And what that means is I don't have to think about it. If I went home and tried to change and figure out what to wear, I would be such a basket case. By the time I got there, it would be a disaster. So this is my thing. So I text this guy this is my line, and he texts back. And at first it's going really well. He says, oh, that's fine as long as you're not a stripper, right? And I'm like, well, I'm not a stripper. It's like, well, neither am I. And I'm like, oh, you thought this is the humor, how funny. And then he comes back with this line. He says, don't worry, I'm overdressed. I'll make up for it. That you're underdressed, right? Now I'm thinking, we're going to this really nice bar in downtown Portland called Ponies and Fools and something, I don't know. It's by Pink Rabbit. And I have these shoes and a little skirt and a little tank top, and I'm thinking, kind of cute right now, but maybe I'm gonna actually be outdressed by a guy on a date, and I'm starting to stress out. And so I sent him a text and said, well, I could always go home and change. And he said, instead of what he should have said, gentlemen, what he should have said was, just so you know, you don't need to change. I'm sure you're beautiful just the way you are. That's the correct answer. Okay. Just in case you ever get stuck in that position, that's free right there. Instead, he said, yeah, why don't you run home? We'll just cancel our reservations. No, not the correct answer, right? So I'm like, oh, wow, okay, well, not going so well, but, I said, no, it's okay, I'm almost there. I was actually literally around the corner sitting in my car. I'm like, okay, I'm almost there, it'll be fine. So I'm stressing, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how's this gonna go? I don't know, it's nice to go out with a nicely dressed man. I get to a corner, and I bump into someone, and I step back. The person says, Wendy, and I don't recognize him. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the guy, that I'm going on the date with. And the reason I didn't recognize him is he's in a pair of flip-flops and shorts and a band t-shirt. And I'm thinking, oh, that's right, I'm in Portland. totally spaced. It's like a Portland tuxedo, absolutely, yes, thank you. So I'm not really sure what I was worried about. And at that point, I'm thinking, reflecting on work that day, we have this thing, I work in HR, we have this thing in Oregon, it's called, you enter into an at-will contract when in employment, right? It's at will. So either side can just get out anytime, right? You can quit, you can be fired, they can leave. And I'm just thinking, right now I'm feeling like I need an at-will contract in this situation. I just put it on my profile, be like, all dates are at will, just so you know. You're welcome to leave whenever you want, so am I, right? So, that date lasted probably about 30 minutes, at the end of which he said, "But I'm one of the really good ones." It's like, and yet you're not. You once again are mistaken. And but I know I've been, kind of ragging on you guys. I'm sorry about that. I'm actually bisexual, which I didn't know for that 26 years of marriage, but I know now. So, the other thing I was excited about was meeting some ladies, right? I was like, yes, I'm gonna do this, so dating apps, and I'm on there, and I'm gonna meet some ladies, and I just have to really tell you, they are really tough. Do you know how hard it is to be a lady? They never answer you, they ghost you, it is insane. Thank you.
Aaron's going to get an autograph. Keep it going for Wendy, it's really by the way, we have another showcase Sunday.
Correct.
7:30. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And also, these are both my classes, also June 23rd, which is a Friday, and June 25th, which is a Sunday. So please spread the word. It's a great show. Come on, spread the word. Let your friends know. And if you would like to join class, it's portlandcomedy.com.
Correct.
And sign up for the class, and it's amazing because none of my students, before they took the class, spoke English. So this is an amazing transformation. I've noticed we have a lot of students from the anyone from, I already asked the Midwest. Wendy from the Midwest. My husband Gary and I have been married for 25 years. You should give it up. Well, he's together for 25 years, married for I don't know how many legally, but he's also because we couldn't get married for a while, and now we've been married for quite a while, but 25 years, when you're getting any relationship after 25 years, like a couple of weeks ago, he said something, I said, "Oh, that's really funny." I said, "You should take my comedy class." He goes, "Well, I've taken that class." I've been in that class and graduated several times. He's also from the Midwest. He's from South Dakota, I'm from New Jersey. He's from South Dakota, a little bit different. His high school mascot were the Irrigators. I swear to God, the fucking Irrigators, ladies and gentlemen. That's a good halftime cheer. We also, like Wendy, had a lot of recovering Catholics in the class. So the class is also good therapy if you can get your past trauma and dysfunction out. My husband also was from a very Catholic family. His grandmother's super Catholic. When he was 6 years old, he was staying in his grandmother's house for a night, and he accidentally brushed against her wood-burning stove and burned his finger, and he's like crying. He's 6 years old. His grandmother comes over and says, "You remember that pain because the fires of hell are 1,000 times worse." Thank you, Grandma. That'll be 25 years of therapy. Okay. She should repay it, actually. Any recovering Catholics here before you on? Oh, Napoleon, yes! Yeah. I grew up Lutheran. We were like Catholics without the bingo. It's kind of like, we just had potluck suppers and hope for the best. Lutherans believe in order to get into heaven, you have to bring a covered dish. That's what we believe as Lutherans. We're just waiting for you to get back.
I grew up Catholic.
You grew up Catholic? Oh, back to your part of the show. How could I? He's the biggest laugh of the evening. Comics will go there until it's dead. You grew up Catholic? Yeah, good for you. Where did you grow up again?
Indianapolis in the Midwest.
Okay, thank you for that accent. My Aunt Fern lives in Bloomington. She's 95 fucking years old. She won't die. She's so annoying. She's 95 in Bloomington. You know where that is. She's always complaining nobody ever calls her, so I got her one of those "How Am I Driving" bumper stickers. Her phone hasn't stopped ringing right now. All right, you ready to continue the show? Another guy who's just terrifically, innately funny, and a star improv performer here. Well, all the improv performers are stars here. And he comes with a compatriot. Please welcome Alex Purvey and Wally. Come on.
get off to say battery.
Oh, fuck. Well, sorry, puppet existence is a little strange. We kind of like are inanimate most of the time, and then we get woken up, and we're like moving around by, some kind of apparatus somewhere. Well, so I'm a little disoriented, so sorry. Let me find my bearings here. Is this a furry convention? No? Oh gosh. Does that mean he's finally turned the corner? He's become the full-on born-again Christian. Is this the 700 Club? Oh, he's dead? Yeah. Now he's in the 700 Degrees Club, am I right? Whoa! So, yeah, well, like I said, I'm Wally, yeah, and this is my partner, Alex. Yeah. Thank you, yes, thank you. Yeah, he's not really a puppeteer, he's my partner, because I'm in charge, right? We're not like Bert and Ernie, no, not at all. No, we're more like Penn and Teller, if Penn had his hand up Teller's asshole. Yeah. So,
That's what it is. It's beautiful.
Yeah. He's usually nervous all the time. That's why he likes to take the puppets. That's kind of a thing. It's a stage thing. I don't know. It's kind of fun. So yeah, anxiety. It's crazy, isn't it? We're all getting all these crazy anxiety-inducing things all the time now. Wildfires caused by certain people going to hell, and like COVID. COVID was a crazy time. Yeah, people were getting all these COVID hobbies, all these interesting COVID hobbies. Anyone have any good interesting COVID hobbies? Anybody? Well, some people, what'd you say? Oh yeah, I guess that guy was doing it too, eh? Well, there's some really interesting ones like baking bread. Yeah, lots of people were baking bread at the same time. Lots of people were growing plants. That's another really big one. Yeah, some people were smoking plants. Mints. Some people were, getting baked while baking bread. What a wonderful smell. Dank weed and yeast. Beautiful smell. Yeah. So I think of COVID hobbies as like kind of a coping mechanism, right? Dealing with the anxieties of all the terrible things that are happening in the world right now. So I've been learning some interesting coping mechanisms myself. Yeah. When I'm alone, I live with this guy, his husband is back there in the audience. Hi. Yeah. So when they leave the house now, they have a little tiny dog. Her name is Daisy. She's a half corgi, half mini Australian Shepherd. Yeah, she's very cute. The corgi part of her, she kind of got like a Napoleon complex. You know how that feels, right? Yeah. Around other bigger dogs, she gets really angry. She's like, "Arr." Yeah. And so like she also has the anxiety from the other side of her, from the sheep herding part. And so she just like is just crazy all the time. Well, during COVID, she developed something called separation anxiety. Yes. Which causes her to lose her fucking mind. So this is what she does. This is how she deals with the stress of being alone in the house. She'll find the sofa, and she'll jump on the sofa. And then she'll jump on the top of the sofa, and then she'll look out the window looking for people. Oh no, they're gone. Which the neighbors fucking hate. That's how they find out about this. And then she jumps off the sofa, and then she runs around. And you know what she does next? She pees on the bed. Yeah, and that's what seems to make her feel a little bit better. It's really interesting. It worked for Donald Trump, so maybe I'll give it a try sometime. But I'm not really into this place, so well, yeah. So I've been dealing with some very stressful things myself. Yeah, you know what that is? I got sacked from Sesame Street. Yeah, you say the wrong thing to the wrong person, and they just let you go. They really get mad. Yeah, I was talking about like late stage capitalism with Cookie Monster. Yeah, he stopped eating all the cookies. He wanted to give them out to the cameraman. The scenes didn't work anymore. They blame me, just because I was informing him about his rights as a puppet. Yeah, and you know what else? I was talking to Elmo about bodily autonomy. Yeah. That's a really important subject for a puppet, right? I think so. Well, he started doing something a little silly. He started clenching. You want to see? Ooh. Yeah, it's like that. They get really upset. Yeah. That was for not trimming your nails today before the show. Oh yeah. So now I'm like left by my own devices. I've been doing the rounds of other children's shows. It's very anxiety-inducing time, with the Hollywood writers' strike and all that stuff. Yeah, it's really. Consequently, if I'm not doing well tonight, it's because of that. So yeah, there's not a lot of shows for puppets anymore. Like, and with Fred Rogers dead and all that stuff. The land of make-believe has really gone to shit. That King Friday, God damn it, he's a tyrant. He's more inbred than Charles II. Yeah, his mom was Queen Wednesday and his dad was King Thursday. That's only one day apart. Yeah, we tried to stage a coup with Daniel Tiger. Turns out he's a paper tiger. Ugh. Yeah, and then I tried to get a job at Avenue Q. Turns out I'm not cisgendered or, that way. It's cisgendered or straight enough. That's it. Yeah, apparently the internet is only for straight porn. Yeah. What were we going to say next? You have this all planned out. What are you going to do? All right. So, I'll leave you with this tonight. It's my impression of Tucker Carlson losing his job at Fox News. What?
Hold it
Canceled?
till it's green.
Liberals! Liberals! How's that, Donald? That's a good joke.
Hey, Alex, and while you're see a little bit of everything tonight. Keep it going for Alex and while
Get his attention. I need to talk to him.
So
I need to talk to
Aaron,
him.
the
He's got to
puppet,
turn his
the
mic
stand-up
off.
puppet, colonoscopy. Monday, 3 cops go.
Restrooms down the hall or here.
Anyone interested? Keep it going for everybody in the show so far. Yeah, I mentioned my husband Gary's up in Seattle. Our niece is about to graduate Seattle University. I'm going up Monday for the ceremony.
Thanks. I just wanted to make sure
Gary's
you
the
turned it
best,
off.
best thing in the world, best thing ever happened to me. The only thing was trying to get him by my conservative Republican mother. That was fun. I took him down to Florida to meet my mother, and she goes, "Well, we didn't have homosexuals in the 1950s." So somebody put the fins on those Cadillacs, all right? Somebody did those beehive hairdos, Mom. Actually, there are a lot of gay people in history that we know about. John Maynard Keynes, who invented modern macroeconomics. Alan Turing, who invented the modern computer. George Santos, who invented, everything. He invented everything. And there are a lot of gay people, I'm sure, who I'm sure were gay. We just don't know about it. I'm thinking maybe like Marco Polo, all right? Had to be gay. 13th century. Mongols have sacked Europe. Crusaders have sacked cities. He's off looking for silks and spices, ladies and gentlemen. If you're gay in the year 1271, you just want a comfy caftan, a little nutmeg, really. That's really all you want. We have a lesbian friend, Jenny, who also has a very Republican mother in Florida, and she said she had the same experience coming out to her mother. She goes, "Mom, I'm a lesbian," and mother goes, "What's next, Jenny? Heroin?" Lesbianism, the gateway drug. Okay. You guys ready for more comedy? We have 3 more outstanding performers. And another group on Sunday. Well, we're just waiting for you. How are the photos doing? Good? Are they gonna be online? You gonna publish them online?
See you on Instagram.
Okay, yeah. That's what the young people are using. Got any Polaroids for me? I have no idea what Polaroids. So actually, Polaroids are what they find when you have a colonoscopy. Joining us now, she's not only been one of the most outstanding students in the class, but, well, they're all outstanding, but she bakes as well. And she brought cookies to our class, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. It was very funny. Piper Davis, ladies and gentlemen. Piper Davis!
Thank you, Carl. So seriously, this is my first time doing stand-up in front of actual human beings. And thank you. And I got a lot of advice. The best piece, I think, was start with something everybody can relate to. Low-hanging fruit, an easy laugh. So I'm thinking, like, well, menopause. Now, to get my comedic juices flowing, I thought I'd Google comedians who talk about menopause. The first thing that comes up, the YouTube video with the most hits, I mean, well and above more than anything else, is some fucking dude. I know, his piece is titled, "Menopause is Worse Than PMS." I'm like, how the fuck does he know? But that doesn't stop him from complaining about his wife's memory loss, sleeplessness, hot flashes, crazy attitudes, and incontinence. And then he goes on to complain that she's been a bad sport about going through this menopause. And I'm like, dude, imagine sometime in the mid-50s, your balls shrivel into the size of peanuts, and you never make testosterone again. This woman is not a bad sport. She is a fucking hero. So actually, what most people call menopause is really perimenopause, which is the time leading up to menopause, when biologically female humans will experience some of the symptoms that menopause is so famous for. But menopause itself is just one day. It is one day a year after your last period. What comes after menopause? Postmenopause. So I am a 58-year-old postmenopausal woman. And the thing is, no one talks about, it's kind of great. Okay, first of all, you're done with periods and all that perimenopausal shit. There's that. Second, if you're interested, you can have sex with men as much as you want and you don't have to fucking worry about birth control. It's a relief. But most importantly, is postmenopausal women are badasses. See, the thing is, once you've been free from hot flashes, memory loss, sleeplessness, blah, 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 not to mention children, you have all sorts of time to be a badass. Now, I, for one, am so grateful that with all the shit she's had to put up with over the last few years, that Nancy Pelosi has not had to worry about a pregnancy scare. So, as you can tell, I'm just not that bummed about being postmenopausal. That is, except for the painful, penetrative sex. Yeah, I know, ask any Christian fundamentalist, there are all sorts of things you can do that don't involve penetration, but for me, there's just nothing like a good fuck. So, I complained to my gynecologist. She assures me I'm not alone. She says, Piper, I'm gonna prescribe some estrogen cream and a dilator. I'm like, a dilator? She hands me a box. I pull out a large plastic dickish shaped thing. It's like 4 inches wide and 10 inches long. I'm like, yeah, tell me a man didn't design this thing? I read the instructions on the side of the box. It says, lubricate and insert into vagina for 10 minutes a day. I'm like, fuck, I have never been squeamish about penetration, but one look at that thing and I felt violated. I'm like, well, would a vibrator work? And she's like, I don't know why not. So I leave the doctor, and on the way home, I stop into my neighborhood women-owned sex toy boutique, She-Bop. Now, She-Bop is not your typical dark, secretive, sexy sex toy shop. No, it is flooded with natural light. It has sort of a cheery, feminist candy shop atmosphere. I walk in and I am dazzled by the offerings. There is a wall of dildos and vibrators, stacks of things called airflow thrusters. There is lube in every flavor imaginable. There are harnesses, prosthetic penises, pumps for those penises, and grinding toys for girls who like it on top. I'm, new to this world, so I asked for some help. And this nice young woman sets me up with my first vibrator. The Oh My Bod. The Oh My Bod Love Life Cuddle. Now, it's kind of a training vibrator. It's cute, it's pink, it's soft to the touch. But I take it home, put it to use, and I don't know why I waited so long. That thing really spiced up the pandemic. Now, there came a point in the pandemic where it was clear I needed to find something besides myself to play with. So we got a puppy. His name is Pablo. And Pablo is a 130-pound Akabosh livestock guardian dog, bred to protect sheep from the wolves in the mountains of Turkey. We keep him as a house pet. Now, like any good puppy parents, we head out to Petco and buy a lot of dog toys. Pablo kind of turned his nose up at him. He's more of a found object artist. He loves tennis shoes. He's particularly fond of a sweaty sports bra. It has just movement and weight enough for a good grrr, grrr. He really loves an old down pillow. The number of times I have walked into the living room and found what looks like some kind of hen house massacre. Feathers everywhere. Pablo innocently lying in the corner, a few white feathers stuck to his lips. But he's a good boy and we love him. So I love to cook and I love to throw dinner parties, and the pandemic was really hard on my social life. And when we finally could have people over for dinner, I'm so excited and we're all seated down at the table, and I'm feeling pretty smug because Pablo was about 6 months old then, and he was upstairs entertaining himself. And we'd hear the occasional thump and some puppy crazies, but I'm like, he's not bugging us. When all of a sudden, he comes like running down the stairs. He hits the landing, sits up straight. We have an open floor plan, so everybody could see from the dining table to where Pablo is. And there, like an adolescent erection, the pink tip of my vibrator is sticking out of his mouth. I say, drop it, Pablo. Which he does, because he's a good boy. But that, of course, triggers the vibrator. It starts buzzing, which at one point, Pablo looks at it. Is it one of those curious puppy stares? And then picks it back up and parades around the living room like a cartoon dog with a roast. And that's when I noticed that one of my guests has their phone on and is videoing the whole thing. And I'm like, I better not see that on Instagram. So who's on Instagram here? Yeah, I am too, at Piper Knows Food. Pablo is also at Malady Pablo. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with Instagram. I think a lot of people do. But what kind of creeps me out is the specificity of the advertising. The things they know about me. And it's not shit I Googled, I promise. They know about the painful sex. I get one ad after another for vaginal lubricant. Okay, posture correcting shapewear? How do they know I don't stand up straight? Did my mother call Mark Zuckerberg? They know I'm an insomniac, that I drink too much, that I'm trying to drink less, both of which are true. But the thing that really gets me, leak-proof underwear. I haven't admitted to myself that incontinence is an issue. I just change my underwear a lot. So, I know a lot of people are worried about mental health and social media. I'm mostly worried about the fact that they can read my mind. And speaking of mental health, has anyone ever had a therapist who overshares? I did. His name is Dino. Now, in our first session, we talked about being an overweight kid, the negative effects of an overbearing mother, divorce, and the therapeutic power of ecstatic dance. And that was before we got to any of my shit. Our sessions would begin normally. He'd earnestly say, "So Piper, how are you doing?" Oh, go back, this is my ecstatic dance. When I told him how much I loved to cook, he told me he was addicted to food. And then in our sessions, after he'd ask me how I was, he'd say, well, Piper, you want to tell me about what you made for dinner last night? And I always would rather talk about food than my feelings. So I indulged him. I'd be like, well, Dino, let me tell you about my lasagna. I start with a hand-made pasta. Fresh ricotta cheese, sauteed spinach, and hot Italian sausage. Another sheet of pasta, and then cheese, green, sausage, pasta, cheese, green, sausage, pasta. And when I finish, I cover the whole thing in creamy bechamel. He'd be like, oh my God, Piper, that sounds amazing. When I noticed the bechamel on his pants, I knew it was time for a new therapist. You guys have been a great audience.
Piper Davis, ladies and gentlemen, really funny stuff. Piper! Good. Lasagna. 2 more performers, we can all go home to our lasagna, right? Keep it going one more time for Piper. I'm so proud. All my class doing so well. So a little quiz for you, Aaron. After menopause and post-menopause, what's next?
Colonoscopy.
Thank you. Colonoscopy. Like to keep the quizzes going. You're very alert for 32. Anybody got a dog? You have a dog? Anybody have dogs? Yeah. What kind of dog do you have? A lab and not a meth one. Wow. It's keeping score. I love that. When I got to LA in 1970, it was an open secret in LA. You may not know this, but all dogs who were in TV and film had to be female. You know why?
Beautiful.
These are the stairs
Boners.
you came
Thank you,
down.
Callie.
Thank you for having me
Callie's
picture
also
the
in
whole
my class.
thing. Great
After
job.
8 weeks, the answer is boners, ladies and gentlemen. Boners. That is right. Most animals in TV and film are female. They don't want the thing on the screen. Think about it. King Kong climbing the Empire State Building. You didn't see that. Where was that? That would have reached Jersey. Come on. If that were true, we could hold on to the building and still knock the planes out of the air. Big week at our house. Before Gary left for Seattle, we had our cat neutered. Thank you. Applause for cutting off balls, ladies and gentlemen. That's where we are as a society. Our cat is neutered. He goes out at night now, but only as a consultant. So, all right. Did you get that one? You're looking at me like I have no idea. I'm still thinking about that colonoscopy group discount at Costco. 3 o'clock on Monday. So coming to the stage now, I think the first performer tonight who's been in 2 of my classes, in the introductory and intermediate, and I am his biggest fan. He's just so talented and a natural. Please welcome Aiden Diskin.
Hi guys, thanks for being here. A little bit about me to start. I am a former professional dancer. I'm also the youngest child of 3. That combination gave me pretty much equal parts self-loathing and starved for attention. So I'm here taking this comedy class. You just speak to that one. So it runs in my family to go gray early. And so I really shouldn't have been that surprised when at 15 I found my first gray pubic hair. And it was like, I was freaking out because I'm like, I just got these. Why do they already look like they finished their first presidential term? It also runs in my family to start going bald early. Like Vince, if I tried to grow a mullet, it would be like business in the front, missing person in the back. But that started like senior year of high school. Again, kind of traumatic. A lot of people told me to like try Rogaine, but I had heard about the sexual side effects of that, and I was very much in the rehearsal process. I was not ready to put up any roadblocks before doing that. Incidentally, I'd be workshopping my own solo material for a little while, so. So I'm a big fan of Harry Potter. But I also try to be like really honest with myself when I'm like entering that stage of fandom, you know? Basically, I'm trying to say I'm a Hufflepuff. Thank you. It's not normally the reaction you get for Hufflepuff. It's all about the fucking glamour houses and stuff. Which, like, I could fit into one of those because I'm kind of brave. I'm pretty smart. I'm a little bit of a dick. But mostly I just want to be like left to my own devices, which is the biggest sign of any true Hufflepuff, in my opinion. Seriously, look at what happened to the last outgoing Hufflepuff. Dude died in a graveyard, and I do not want to go out like that. There was a while where like what Hogwarts house you were sorted into became like more important than our religion, right? It was like, what's your star sign and what Hogwarts house did you get sorted into on Facebook? The zodiac signs, though, I've never cared about that. I swear I've gotten less shit in my life for being an atheist than for not caring what my zodiac sign says about me. I had somebody come up to me and say once, don't you just wish that everyone's zodiac was like projected above their head so we just all knew? And I was like, no. I just don't particularly care about that stuff. Really hoping that by using the word stuff, I was appropriately expressing my disinterest. No. So she says to me, well, do you mind if I ask what your star sign is? And I was like, honestly, I do, because I feel like that question is more about you than me. Which I understand is weird. But I don't know what recourse I'm left with at that point. Because the only other thing I can do is to tell them what my sign is and watch their smug fucking face as they go, yeah, you are such a Leo. I'm like, cool, just like lump me into people born in late July. we're all the same. You guys remember the 90s boy band craze?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah! Whew. That would be a long joke if you didn't. I was a big fan, but I do feel like they kind of fucked up my perspective on romance. Like, think about some of NSYNC's song titles. Drive Myself Crazy, I'll Never Stop. They are basically instruction manuals for future stalkers. And I maintain led to people like Clay Aiken making songs with lyrics like, if I was invisible, I would just watch you in your room. It's a real lyric. I'm not making that up. But like, for me, the Backstreet Boys were the worst ones with like delusional song lyrics. They had this song, As Long As You Love Me, right? Which was a really cool music video. It had like mic stand choreography and chair dancing and like wind. You guys remember when it was really cool to like blow wind through your shirt and stuff? And it was filmed in an industrial warehouse, which we all know there's like really high levels of wind coming through. But they had this song, As Long As You Love Me, which posits, doesn't matter who you've been, where you're from, anything you've done, it really just runs through it, as long as you love me. Which is some needy, codependent shit. Like, there's a lyric in there, it doesn't really matter if you're on the run, which to me seems like an unstable way to start a relationship. Maybe that's just me, but I don't like moving around that much. But I feel like, I've always felt like there was some things they left off the list. You know, they generalized really hard. So I came up with some things that I think, at least for me, would be red flags. Are there circumstances around your last partner's death? I just feel like you're going to be really busy with that. Like, there's going to be a police investigation, there's going to be a trial, and then you're going to be dealing with the Netflix like royalties and stuff like that. Do you believe the earth is flat and you love Kanye West? You should probably keep that to yourself. Or are you rude to service people because that's their job? I mean, like, I know we're in Portland, like, we walk by a coffee shop and you leave like at least a 5% contact. It's important. Do you love me, but you quote the upsides of Mein Kampf? I don't think we're meant to be. But that's not where their delusional songs ended. Remember, everybody, Backstreet's back, alright. Yeah, so in that song, in the chorus, there's a little bridge where they ask their audience 3 incredibly needy questions. And I just want to answer them more accurately. Am I original? Am I the only one? There are 5 of you. Am I sexual? Honestly, everyone has some kind of relationship with sexuality. So in that instance, yes, Nick Carter. Yes, you are sexual. Taking a comedy class, I knew I would learn a lot. I didn't totally realize everything I would learn. One of the students in our class, not performing tonight, has a bit about poppers. If you don't know what poppers are, they are VHS cleaning fluid that is a stimulant and helps with anal sex. Again, this is my first time learning about them. So, shocked to find out that not only is this a thing, but there are flavors. So I was like, what's your favorite flavor? And he said rose gold. And I was like, ooh, but I thought he said rolled gold, and I really like pretzels. have discovered that I do have a favorite flavor of poppers. It's jalapeno. Thank you for your groan. Like many people up here tonight, I am a huge fan of the legalization of recreational marijuana. Usually I feel like the applause for marijuana is a little more like... and then you just go back to sleep. But it's so much better. I don't know who in here might or might not remember going to your dealer's house, sitting in like a weird dark room with them for like 30, 40 minutes while they talk to you about like the social positives of anime and manga. And the next hour and 15 is taken up by what their cat is up to. And then you have to tip them out of your stash that you just bought from them because that's just how it was. It's so much better now. Now we go into like a little boutique shop where an uncertified weed sommelier comes out to tell you about how the strain you're looking at has woodsy notes, citrus, purple. I do try to be like kind of organized with the things I think about while I'm high. So I've actually compiled a list. I want to read you guys some of these. These are just kind of musings, you know. Guacamole is just baby food for adults. If you accidentally inhale a cough drop, for a very short time, it has the opposite of its intended effect. Tinfoil was like duct tape before duct tape, right? Like, it could do a lot. It could fix your TV antenna, it could protect you from aliens, and it could also blow up your microwave. I don't know how this one's gonna land. The Gilmore Girls are not good people. Honestly, everything, if you think about it, is scratch and sniff, right? Microphone, mustache, that's my balls. As an aside, I think it's interesting how we just kind of blame everything on the balls. Like, think about it. If I were to stand up here and talk to you about how my dick smells, you would all be like, ew, gross. I don't know if you guys wonder this too, but I've always wondered why Mr. Pibb didn't just buckle down and get his medical license. I wonder what soda we'd be drinking now if he had. Page 2. Has anyone here ever accidentally bought their clothes back from Goodwill? Maybe it's a thing because I'm high, but like just kind of rolling through and you're like, I really like that shirt. A lot of these I know are like kind of negative. I don't want to be too negative. So I'm going to talk about something I really, really like. I love bumper stickers. Because I can be driving around and I immediately know a bunch of people that I don't want to meet. Like when you see those family van stickers on like a minivan, you know, I feel like that's just them apologizing for having a minivan. They're like, come on, we have this many, we need this car. I'm sorry. They make SUVs, guys. Does anyone else have a spider living in their dashboard? Thank you. Yeah, I just come out to my car every morning and it's like a tiny garden gnome has been masturbating on my windscreen. Do the half full here, I'm getting down to it, guys. One of my favorite things to do is watch sports. I particularly love the NBA, and it's the playoffs right now, if you didn't know. But one of my favorite things about the game is the unaware way that announcers will talk about the game. They're trying to say a basic thing, like, this team is getting close to the basket, they're throwing it out beyond the three-point line for an open shot. But the language they use, already, you've been nodding with me since I said that, the NBA, so you like tall people. These are the words they use. They're getting deep penetration inside and great opportunities near the rim before they spray it to the outside for the finish. It's just interesting to me that like an NBA broadcast team and the production crew for a porno use basically the same word. Lastly, I'll leave you with this. It's something important to note when watching my comedy is that I do smoke a lot of weed. So most of my set are things I think about while I'm Thank you guys.
Hey, Mr. Ladies and gentlemen, how's it going? How the heck, everybody? It's so good, everybody. Class is just a joy. Be good to take a class, wouldn't it? Stand-up class? You'd be great. We'll give him a discount or something. Yeah.
Carl, don't encourage him.
Yeah, I know. We'll give you a coupon for a colonoscopy much later in life. I'm sure it'll be expired by the time you use it. PortlandComedy.com, that's good.
That's correct.
You know, I keep hoping it'll change.
You're right.
PortlandComedy.com. So one of the great things is when you come to the classes are joyous, they're fun, it's a collaborative effort, and you get away from all the crap of the world, or you make the crap of the world funny and takes the edge off it. I mean, it sucks out there in a lot of ways, right? We have to look at Marjorie Taylor Greene. You know what I'm talking about? She's the epitome of the Republican Party. So mean. She's like half German, half Shepherd, actually. It was really easy for you. Half German. I hope he's in the class. I really do. Oh my God. So you do improv, and so how do you think stand-up compares to improv? It's a lot of the same tools and observations. Yeah. I haven't signed him up yet. I'm really trying. Actually, I'm very pleased to introduce our final performer tonight. And one of the things we talk about when we start stand-up is it's theoretically 50% material, 50% style, right? You've got your material, which I like to be from people's lives, their own truth. That's the easiest to start with. But then you've got your style, your point of view, your voice, your acting, because what you're doing is acting your material. And I always know when someone comes into my class, they got their style. It's already done because it's who they are. It's the simplest route to get that style thing down. Like Napoleon, right? Right. Yeah. And our next performer, man, he's just got his style. And by the way, the easiest style, as I just said, is be who you are. People are just naturally going to put over their material because they are connecting with the audience. They're funny. They're everything rolled into one. With that, and I hope it's not too much of an intro, because I know he'll exceed the bar. Please welcome Denny. Denny.
I'm happy to be here, and I mean, I'm happy to be in Portland. I almost never leave Portland. I hate the rest of the world, and so, but I just got back. I mean, like a little bit. I just got back to Portland. I was in a place called Boise, Idaho. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's over there. It's about 11 hours on a bus or 30 years on a calendar. but it's over there. And I did not fit in Boise. Surprise. Okay. I didn't. So anybody that knows me will tell you that I do not like to fly. I always avoid to fly. I was in Boise 10 minutes, and I booked the first flight to Portland. I figured 2 hours of terror is much better than another night in Boise. Right? So I get on the app and I check in on the app, and everything goes right at first. And then, so I get on the app and I check in for the flight. I do that, and then I get a boarding pass. All right, I do that, and then it says, "Do you want to check a bag?" No. Okay. And then I swipe to a question that I've never seen before. Now, I've flown a lot, like a lot, and I've never been asked this question. And it threw me, right? So I want you to see it the way I saw it. So on my app, right, it's just a plain blue screen with a question, 2 words and a question mark. And then down on the bottom is 2 buttons, yes or no. Okay? That's all the context you get. That's all the context I got, right? So here it is. You ready? Here's the question. Black baby? Black baby? Black baby, yes or no? Right? How do you answer that? Well, listen, I don't know about you, but the first thought I had, all right, it wasn't awesome. It doesn't reflect my true personality, the true me, right? The first thought I had was, oh man, why did they pick me?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to hold the baby. Right? I just want to play on my iPad and pretend that I'm not 5 miles up in the sky in a machine that's maintained by underpaid non-union workers. That's all I want. But they want me to carry a baby. I'm like, no. I can't. And how does it even work, right? Think about it. What happens when I have to pee, right? Seriously, I mean, I'm not taking a baby. Can you imagine how fast that would go viral, right? Old man takes strange baby in the airplane bathroom? No. I'm not doing that. When I pee, that baby's staying on the seat, right? And that baby, I mean, they'll probably be okay, right? I mean, they mostly just lay there anyway, right? They're babies, right? But if I get a particularly active one, then who knows? Yeah, right? But if I get an active one, he could roll off the seat and roll around the plane. And that's not on me, right? I am not responsible for that baby's choices, right? I'm only responsibility is something I avoid anyway. I mean, that's as much as I don't want to be inconvenienced by holding a baby, even more, I don't want to be responsible for one. Right? I just don't. My entire life is structured so I have no responsibility, and that's true. Right? Okay, for example, at the end of COVID, I made a big career change, what they call a pivot, right? I made a pivot. And now, I am an unemployed pothead. And I'm killing it. I'm an industry leader. I mean, you know that old expression where you say, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life? Oh, it's true. It's true. I never work, right? I do what I love, and that's what I do. But, I mean, face it, nobody in here would hand me a baby. I know that. And that's right. And it's not because I would hurt a baby, right? I would never hurt a baby. I would lose the baby probably. But I would not hurt a baby. Right? And the airline, right? They know me. I mean, my app, their app is on my phone, right? They know my browser history, right? And with a predictive algorithm, they know that I should be the last choice on that airplane to hold the baby. Which means they're asking everybody. Right? We're talking about a plane full of babies fleeing Idaho. Right? I don't know what's going on in Idaho. I don't keep up. But a plane full of babies fleeing speaks for itself. Right? I mean, something bad's happening. So, I mean, these babies, they know. Think about it. I mean, how brave are these babies? How desperate are these babies? Right? That they're willing to fly out on the laps of strangers, like potential potheads and the plane's leaving Boise, right? So you know that there's at least one youth pastor on that plane. Right? And for those of you that didn't get it, all right, you haven't been watching the news, right? Like in the history of the news from don't eat that apple to whatever electron just picked in on your phone right now, there has never, ever been an instance where a drag queen has molested a baby, ever. Right? But some other professions, see how much better that is when you put it together yourself? It works, right? So I realized, right, there's a plane full of babies, right? And I'm a helper by nature. That's what I am. And I realize now that I have to take a baby. Right? I have to join the resistance. I have to help a baby escape from Idaho. So I started to push yes, and then I realized, oh no, I cannot leave a digital record of me asking to put a strange baby on my lap. No. Can you imagine the scandal, like if I was ever elected to Congress? Could you imagine? Hey, don't laugh. Robert's in Congress, I could do it. Right?
It'd be better.
So then I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll take care of you person. So I closed the app out. So I go to the airport. And I wait until there's nobody at the counter except one person. And I go up to the counter, and I'm like, chit chat, friendly and stuff. I'm like, oh yeah. And I'm like, hey, what can you tell me about this lap baby? And she says, oh, you have a lap baby? And I said, no, not yet, And she said, oh, but by boarding, you will have a lap baby. And I said, don't get ahead of yourself. I just want to know how it works, I just want to know how this whole thing works. And I was like, how do I get the baby? And she's like, well, are you sure? And I said, yeah, tell me about it. She said, sir, it's self-explanatory. And that's when I realized it's a secret. She couldn't trust me. She doesn't know me, right? It's like she could be put in jail in Idaho. Who knows what could happen to her? So I made an excuse and I was like, have a nice flight by, and I left, right? So I went and I got on the plane, right? I pre-boarded. I got on the plane first because I pre-boarded, because I lied. I told them a lie and they let me pre-board. So I get on the plane, I'm watching everybody get on the plane, right? The second guy that gets on the plane is this giant of a muscular, like big old, what do you call it, lumber sexual guy, He's got like this plaid shirt, right? And he's got the big beard and the hair that's oiled back, but it's shaved on the sides, And he's coming down the aisle and he's carrying this little tiny baby, right? And I was in awe. I was like, I am in the presence of greatness. Look at this hero bringing this baby. And to my great joy, he sat down beside me, right? Yeah, I was thrilled, right? And then some random woman with a stroller sat next to him. Right, I don't know what that was about. But anyway, I thought, look at this guy. He's magnificent, I mean, this manly man, he probably just got back from volunteering in Ukraine, and on his vacation time, he's saving babies from Idaho, right? I was a little bit, you know, I was fanboy. I tell you, I was like, oh, I just was fanboying the whole thing. Right? I was excited, right? And I kept looking at him, and he kept like looking over at me. And finally, he said, "Can I help you?" Well, actually, he said, "Can I help you?" And I was like, "No, man, but I can help you." And he's like, "What?" And I said, "When you get up to pee, I'll make sure that baby doesn't roll off the seat." And that random woman goes, "What'd you say about that baby?" And I said, "Shh, keep it down. And not everybody knows, but I'm going to help that baby escape." And that's when I learned she was not part of the resistance. Right? She started calling me names and yelling and screaming at me. And the flight attendant came over and the security guy came over. And that's when I learned that it was an 11-hour bus ride from Boise to Portland.
You could be a lap baby, you're so young. Yeah. Keep it going, that's just magnificent stuff. Forward. Lap baby, yes, no. It did like 12, 15 minutes on that. I mean, that's observational excellence right there. So you know how much fun we have in class, because they say like sports, when you practice well, you'll play well. Everyone, actually we're going to, I know it's been a couple hours, but we're going to do a little Q&A so you can ask the students who performed tonight about the class. It's not going to be very long, but I want to invite everyone who performed to come up tonight. You give them a big round of applause. Charles Schreiber, Hunter Davis, Aiden Diskin, what's in your name? Vince Kippa, and Alex Prevey. Again, Wendy Heiss, give them all a big round of applause. And I'm going to kind of duck out, and well, I'll be on the side of the stage. Well, I'm like the baby. And if any of you need to hold me, that's fine. And I'm just going to give the mic. I'll start with Charles. And if anyone has any Q&A, any questions about the class, remember, hold the mic right up here. Fire away. Go ahead.
What are your post-class goals for stand-up? Post-class goals.
What do you want to do next?
Oh, I actually, I had a little twist, you know, because of the black female backup vocalist thing didn't work out. What I've decided is I'm not really good at stand-up. I'm going to do sit-down. And in fact, I'm practicing with a cello. And that's going to be my next group.
Yeah, I don't, this really was my first time. So I hope to have another opportunity starting on Sunday.
The next set, the next Friday. That's what I.
5 minutes on Carson and hell.
Yeah, next Friday. I'm just gonna be Denny's like fangirl, I think is what I'm.
I think he said lap baby.
Oh, yeah, like, I
He's looking for a lap, yes or
I'd be happy to be lap baby. I want to do one mics at Helium. And I know Wally wants to be on Sesame Street again, so.
I have no idea. I just like writing jokes right now.
Are you a Leo?
Fuck you, Carl.
Wow. Okay.
That's a yes in Leo.
Okay. This next class costs $10 more.
Anybody else? Questions?
No questions?
There's
Thank you.
I have another question. So, what
Good
was
job,
the
Nikki.
joke that you thought, oh, this isn't really good, but then it ended up being really good after workshopping?
I didn't think the Harry Potter thing would be like funny at all. Like I thought it was funny, but it was probably the most like nerve-wracking joke to like, you know.
Most of my throwaway lines killed. And then I'd like show up and be like, I gotta hold on to something when I tell this one.
And he's changed clothes. He's changed clothes. I know. Yeah.
I'm aware I have a mullet, which is a bridge for more jokes, and they're like, never lose that. I can't escape it.
Aaron, you have a question?
Yeah, so 1 to 10, how funny is your teacher?
Well, we know how old he is. 15. Only because Callie asked. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to say that. He's very funny. He's very funny.
I would say like a 3, because that's how many times it took me to stop laughing at the Korean dry cleaner joke.
That's because you're a Leo.
Wow.
Anybody else? So I do want to say one thing about the class and
The structure of the class, because nothing takes the place of stage time. When you may be funny, but you got to get on stage and have a connection with an audience. So that's why nights like this are important. And up to this point, the audience is the other class members. So we get each student right up to start out with their material, and then I critique and everyone else critiques, and it becomes kind of like a writer's room. It's a very creative process. Everything is positive. Anybody watch the Great British Baking Show? Okay. There's no acrimony, no unwarranted criticism. Even if Aaron's in, we're going to be affirming and positive. And it's amazing how many lines you'll get from suggestions from other students. And it's kind of like a writer's room. So that's the process. And then the graduation and each of these students, I think, will be on at least twice. And so Sunday night, tell your friends, 23rd and 25th. But it's about understanding the mechanics, understanding what your material is, best way to write it, and then the best way to put it across with your style. And doing. Anybody want to add anything to that? And I am so proud of them. Give them a round of applause. There wasn't a false note tonight. Not a false note. Anne Lindsay is also in our class. Napoleon is a graduate. Gray and Callie will be performing soon. And Terry, I want to especially mention Terry because Terry is 83 years old and in my class. If you don't applaud for 80 fucking 3. And he has attended every class. He's extremely funny. He'll be on Sunday night. And Jean, his 96-year-old wife, comes to every class as well. So you should applaud for her. If you can do comedy at 96, you can do it at 15 or however fucking old you are. But right above a laugh, baby. Thank you all for coming tonight. You guys are a wonderful crowd. Tell all your friends. And what's that website again, Patrick?
PortlandComedy.com.
You've had a great night. Good night. Great job. You're amazing. You're amazing.